People run in to get their fast food. Do you think they notice the person serving them?
No, they never notice. But I believe that's my skill, to be friendly. Even though I'm heartbroken, even though I have problems at home and I have to deal with them day by day, I will still give you a smile.
27-year-old Nancy Salgado's sweet smile may be her most marketable asset in the fast food industry. That and her willingness to do just about any task.
I work at grills, fried products, making sandwiches. I work breakfast, lunch, dinner. I work cashier. I work drive-through. I do drink station, throw away garbage. Pretty much that's it.
Pretty much that's it?
Yeah.
That's an awful lot. And yet, after working for a decade in McDonald's franchise restaurants in Chicago, she still earns the state minimum wage in Illinois, currently $8.25 an hour. Nancy Salgado, a divorced mother of two, struggles to get by on little more than $1,000 a month, and that's with no benefits.
How much is 6 plus 0? 0. No.
Nothing.
We bring down the what?
Even as she helps her 7-year-old daughter Jideth with homework, she can't get the numbers in her own household budget to add up.
It's hard thinking about it every day, and for her to tell me, it's okay, Mommy. I know you don't have enough money for certain things today. It's harder. It's harder because they're noticing how bad we are living,
Which is why on this hot day in late summer, she went from behind the counter to in front of cameras, demanding, along with hundreds of other low-wage workers, an increase in pay. Salgado's situation, say economists, is America's troubling new normal.
If you look back at America 30 years ago, most of your minimum wage workers were teenagers, or they were women who didn't have to work but actually had some spare time. Today, your typical low-wage or even minimum wage worker is an adult, over 25 years old. 25% of those low-wage workers have children.
25%.
25%.
Robert Reich, former Secretary of Labor under President Bill Clinton, is now a professor at the University of California, Berkeley. He sums up the problem in a new documentary, Inequality for All.
If you look at the average hourly earnings of production workers, the average hourly earning continued to rise until the late 1970s, and then something happened. Flattening wages. Look at the gap.
That gap, says Reich, between worker productivity and the wages they earn grew as low-paying retail jobs began to replace the 40-hour-a-week unionized jobs with benefits that once supported a large American middle class.
That is gone. Only 7% of private sector workers are unionized today. That's not enough to give workers any kind of real power, bargaining leverage in terms of getting a share of the benefits of a growing economy.
Unions are mostly behind the recent wave of protests, some reminiscent of the civil rights era, where Fight for 15 has become the rallying cry, a demand for a new federal minimum wage law that would force companies to pay workers at least $15 an hour.
$15 hour minimum wage is completely unrealistic.
Scott DeFife is Executive Vice President of the National Restaurant Association, the industry's lobbying arm in Washington, which is opposed to any large increase in the federal minimum wage. Most restaurants, he says, operate on a slim profit margin, so increasing wages will mean fewer jobs and might even put some owners out of business. Isn't it embarrassing, though, for the industry to have any employees who are living at or right around the poverty level?
Well, I would say that there's people living at or around the poverty level in virtually every industry in this country. I would say that that may be a result of the economic distress that the country has been under, and not a kind of pattern that the restaurant industry intends to have as its base.
And yet, The issue has become something of a public relations nightmare for the nation's largest employers. This summer, McDonald's posted online a budget that was supposed to help employees make better use of their income.
All you have to do is follow their sample monthly budget, where they estimate you will spend $600 on rent, $100 on cable and phone, and $0 on heating. No problem. Just accumulate a warming layer of fat on your body, like this employee.
It seems to have paid off more for comedians than for fast food workers like Nancy Salgado. Would you describe Nancy as part of the working poor?
Yes.
No question.
Yes.
According to financial planner Sarah Stanich, Nancy Salgado is stretching her income about as far as she can. She walks to work, has no credit cards, and gets help with childcare. And yet... And I notice here you don't put anything in for savings.
And I've got nothing for savings. Yeah.
Because there probably isn't any money at the end of the month for that.
I mean, I would love for everyone to be in the habit of saving and paying themselves first. When they get a paycheck, to always put a little bit aside. But is that realistic for her right now?
Tonight, let's declare that in the wealthiest nation on earth, no one who works full-time should have to live in poverty, and raise the federal minimum wage.
During his State of the Union address earlier this year, President Barack Obama vowed to change federal law.
This single step would raise the incomes of millions of working families.
But with Congress seemingly stuck in perpetual gridlock, some states are taking action. California will soon have the highest state minimum wage in the country, $10 an hour. 18 other states also require minimum wages above the federal level, which is currently $7.25. Washington, D.C.'s City Council tried to go even further this year, targeting just one business, Walmart, demanding the retailer pay a minimum of $12.50 an hour. Walmart responded by threatening to stop construction of 3 of its 6 planned locations in D.C. But in September, the district's mayor vetoed the proposal.
Since that bill was vetoed, we're proceeding with all of our stores in Washington, D.C. And we had our hiring center open for one of the stores, and 6,000 people showed up for those jobs.
David Tovar is Walmart's vice president of communications. It's worth noting that of all the corporations Sunday Morning reached out to, Walmart was the only one that would provide an interview.
We don't want people to stay in entry-level jobs very long. We have clear data that shows that there is a tipping point in terms of their productivity if they stay in an entry-level job too long.
But higher-paying retail and fast food jobs often require longer and unpredictable hours. Single mother Nancy Salgado says she's turned down chances for promotion to care for her children. In October, her frustration was caught on cell phone video at an event where McDonald's USA President Jeff Stratton was speaking.
The thing is that I need a raise, but you're not helping your employees. How is this possible? If we don't speak up, we're not going to be heard, you know? And there's times that we got to suck up the pride and come out and do what we got to do.
Nancy Salgado is putting everything on the line. There's a $15 an hour price tag on her American dream.
We'll be able to spend a little bit more. We'll be able to shop a little bit more. I'm not looking for a rich life, you know?
Well, you're not going to be rich even on $15 an hour.
Exactly. But what I'm looking for is to be able to be safe and living well.